Hey folks, Bill here with Guillory Fine Art. Recently, one of my subscribers asked if I could show how I fine-tune the AI selection as far as having it select animals or buildings or whatever. And by no means do I pretend to know everything, and I probably don't even know a quarter of the commands in On1 Photo Raw 2023, and that is what I'm using. But if I can show somebody, and if I can learn something myself, I'm all for it. So I have a few images here. I'm going to select the blue tab because I've gone through and highlighted 4 of them that I want to demonstrate a few things with. I'll start with this building. I'm going to go into edit module, and On1 has a sky replacement, and so if you just select sky, it goes through, it identifies the sky, and selects it for you and lets you change out different images for the sky. To view the mask, I clicked on the little icon, and I'm going to select view, and as you can see, it's got a very feathered side to it, and if you move the feathering, it just makes it worse. But they have the levels, so you can drop down the level, and you can bring down this one on the far right all the way down, and it cleaned up the area pretty good. And so if you do select a cloud or a sky or something, you can see it and turn the viewing off, and it does somewhat of a decent job. I'm gonna reset all, and if you go into effects and say you want to add a filter, and you select architect, in my opinion, it does a better job in selecting the building itself. And just for kicks, I'm going to select HDR look. I'm going to come over and select the mask. We'll view it at 100%. I'm holding the shift key to pan over, and I'm going to come down and hit view. Now as you can see, the straight edges, it did a fairly decent job in separating the building from the sky and the building from the trees. But on the balcony, it left the sky. Probably thought it was a window. So what I like to do is I like to use the magic brush, and that is basically this little symbol right here. When you first click it on, it'll tell you about the perfect brush, the perfect brush and how it works. Once I've selected that, I like to change the color threshold to about 5. You can adjust it at different stages, and I'm going to select in the middle with my plus. And that didn't do. Oh, I am painting in. I'm going to select paint out, and you select it, and you can just paint over the areas you want to remove from the mask. Now I'm going to go Control plus again to zoom in even closer. And as you can see, it has a little bit of a halo around the edges. And that is where I like to come and select the refine mask. In the refine mask, there's a couple of different ways. This is just going to be blur the edges. This will be the refine brush that I haven't really used that much. I mostly use the chisel, and on the chisel you can set the amount to 8. You can bring it down all the way to 5, or you can bring the chisel amount up to forget what it is, 100% or 100 pixels, and I believe it's in pixels. So if I'm like at 6 pixels and I want a chisel, I'm set to remove. So if I come here and I just run it along the edge, it is removing pixels, and I believe it's removing 6 pixels at a time, coming up and over, and you can come back again and continue to remove pixels on that edge of the mask. Now if you wanted to replace it, you could simply say add, and you can change this amount to say 40 just to see. And if I run it on the side, you see how large it is replacing the pixels. So that is one way of removing pixels. And of course I'm set to my amount so high, I'll bring it down to 5 and hold my Alt. I want to replace Control Z. If ever you get into trouble, just Control Z and it'll bring it back to what you have. So that's some of the basic tools that I use. I'm going to go back to my grid view and let's select this one. We'll go into edit, go effects, add a filter, animal. You can see it's selected pretty decent. I'm going to say high dynamic look. Control plus, zoom in and select the mask, view the mask, and as you can see it missed a little bit, but while I'm in the perfect brush is set to 5. And I'll select and remove. I'm holding my shift down, pan over. Now on the perfect brush, I think the setting is the color threshold. So if I have a larger threshold, let's say like I'll come here and make a larger threshold, it will select more colors. It will select more of that tonality. I'm holding the Alt key so I can remove it. I'm going to bring this back down to I think a working set. Now Control negative, and that is that. So one more thing, I'm going to go back to my grid view. Select this one, Open it up. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to crop. I'm going to hit C on my keyboard. I'm going to crop it down. Maybe a little bit more. You can see what I'm doing. Hit enter. AI auto. And I want to go effects. Add a filter. Animal. And high dynamic look. HDR. We'll zoom in at 100%. I'm going to select the mask. Select view mask. And you can see where it skipped several sections. So while in the perfect brush, set at 5, and I'm set to paint out, I'm going to select the sections and paint out. There's always other ways to, how they say, 3 ways to skin a cat, whatever. There's always ways to do things. I tend to find just the easiest, simplest way, and that's what I wind up staying with. Now, in some areas you can hold Alt and paint back in, or paint out, whichever selection you have. Now, I'm used a mouse up to this point, and something like this for the legs, to add the legs to the selection. I'm going to pick up my Wacom tablet. I have a small Wacom tablet with a pen, and in the settings you will see a pressure adjust size. I have that turned on, and a pressure adjusts opacity. So with my pen, I'm going to make sure I'm painting in, and I'm going to come through and paint in what I want to have the effect. I hope this was helpful. Again, I don't know everything there is to know about On1 or photography or anything else. I'm just a retired wedding photographer doing nature photography. I've been in art ever since I was 11 years old. I've been drawing and painting and into photography. So I hope you've learned something. Please drop a line and let me know if there's any other questions or comments. I really appreciate it, and thank you all, and have a wonderful day.